Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the August 23rd Lebanon City Council meeting. Our first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman Wheat, will you lead us, please?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll move on to the roll call of members. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Sure. Mike Kincaid.
Present.
Keith Campbell.
Here.
Morris Jones.
Here.
Dick Robertson.
Here.
John Copeland.
Here.
Brent Wheat.
Here.
Sierra Messenger.
Present.
Thanks.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. Are there any changes to the minutes? Would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Move to approve the minutes.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Sierra. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those minutes are approved. All right, on to old business. First item up is Ordinance 2021-16, City of Lebanon Contract Amendment with the Indiana Municipal Power Agency. This ordinance is on second reading. We have Brian Brackmeyer here from IMPA tonight if we want him to come ask questions. Again, this is essentially extending the length of term on our contract with IMPA, which is our power supply provider for the city. So this time I'll have our city attorney read the ordinance on second reading, and then we'll have further discussion and then a vote on that. So, go.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Ordinance 2021-16 is an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of the third amendatory agreement to the power sales contract between Indiana Municipal Power Agency and the City of Lebanon, Indiana. The city is a municipality owning and operating an electric utility known as Lebanon Utilities. The utility is operated by the Lebanon Utilities Service Board. The city is required by law to provide its customers with an adequate, reliable, and economical supply of electric power and energy, but has determined that individually it is not financially capable of providing the planning, financing, locating, and building of needed new facilities for generation and transmission to satisfy future requirements of its customers. The city has determined that it was in the best interest to join other municipalities in the state of Indiana as a member of the Indiana Municipal Power Agency, IMPA, for the purpose of undertaking the planning, financing, ownership, and operation of a project or projects to supply electric power and energy for its needs in accordance with Indiana law. IMPA and the city entered into the power sales contract. Under the power sales contract, IMPA agreed to sell and deliver to the city, and the city agreed to purchase and receive from IMPA all electric power and energy which the city required for the operation of its utility for a term expiring April 1st, 2042. IMPA plans for its power supply on a 30-year timeline, and the power supply resources considered can take 5 to 10 years or more for development and construction, with useful lives of decades longer. It is in the best interest of IMPA and the city to amend the power sales contract in the form attached as Exhibit A to extend the existing term through April 1st, 2050. With a 30-year notice of termination that would allow IMPA the discretion to issue new debt with a long-term amortization schedule if necessary. On April 14th, 2021, the board reviewed the amendment and recommended to the council by resolution number 2021-01 that it take appropriate action to adopt and implement the amendment. Based upon the foregoing facts, the city by this ordinance hereby finds and determines to approve the amendment. Now therefore be it resolved that the amendment attached hereto as Exhibit A is hereby approved by the council. The entry of the city into the power sales contract and its performance of the terms and conditions therefore are hereby ratified and confirmed. The city is authorized pursuant to this ordinance, A, to enter into the amendment in substantially the form attached hereto as Exhibit A, and B, to be bound by the terms and conditions of the power sales contract and as supplemented and amended by this amendment. The mayor is hereby authorized and directed to execute and deliver, and the clerk treasurer is hereby authorized to attest and seal the amendment.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
No, sir.
Any discussion concerning the ordinance? Any public comment concerning the ordinance? Okay. Brian, you want to say anything?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Brackemeyer. I am the Vice President Member Services for IMPA. Just want to start off by saying thank you. Lebanon is one of the founding members of IMPA, so when I say we would not be here today without the city of Lebanon, I truly mean that, and hopefully we've been able to provide a significant amount of value to you over the years, having the lowest wholesale rates in the state of Indiana. In fact, our rates are lower today than what they were in 2016. So rates being so important to the city of Lebanon and your customers, hopefully that's something that you think is worthwhile as you consider this contract extension.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Any further discussion, final thoughts? Okay. I would entertain a motion then concerning ordinance 2021-16.
Make a motion, we approve ordinance 2021-16.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? That ordinance is adopted unanimously. Thank you, council. Okay, that concludes what I have for old business. Is there anything from council? Okay. New business then. First item up is ordinance 2021-17. Council to consider PUD rezone request for Waterford Development, and this ordinance is on first reading. Ben?
Good evening, council members. This is relating to an additional piece of property that the Hankey Development Team now has under contract. Zoom in for you a little bit here, just to give you an idea where it's located. So you can see here outlined in red is an additional 60-acre piece that they have under contract, kind of at the southeast, in the southeast quadrant of the development. As you can see here, it's shown in green, which is their lifestyle community sub-district, which is primarily residential uses, single-family residential uses and other related uses. So what this ordinance then does is it just establishes, or it rezones this piece of property to the PUD, similar to the rest of the development, and then establishes the same development standards on this property that the rest of the development will adhere to. So that's all you have here tonight. It's the actual ordinance itself. The verbiage is all exactly the same as was previously adopted for the rest of the development. This essentially just establishes those same standards to this 60-acre piece that they're adding to the development. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So is this a new 60-acre piece they just purchased?
It is a new 60-acre piece that they now have under contract. So we're basically just extending the boundaries of the development to include this 60 acres with this ordinance.
Thank you.
And we've already annexed this area to...
This was already part of the city. Yep.
Any questions from council for Ben? Okay, I'll have the ordinance read on first reading.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 2021-17 is an ordinance amending ordinance number 07-16, the Unified Development Ordinance of the City of Lebanon, Indiana. The Common Council has adopted ordinance number 07-16 as the City of Lebanon, Indiana Unified Development Ordinance pursuant to its authority under Indiana law. The city is subject to the Unified Development Ordinance. The City of Lebanon Advisory Plan Commission considered a petition requesting an amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance and to the zoning map with regards to the subject real estate more particularly described in Exhibit A attached hereto. The Commission forwarded docket 21-42 after a public hearing held on the 16th day of August 2021 to the Common Council with a favorable recommendation by a vote of 9-0 in accordance with Indiana law. The Secretary of the Commission certified the action of the Commission to the Common Council on August 17th, 2021. The Common Council is subject to the provisions of Indiana law concerning any action on this request. Now therefore, be it ordained, Section 1 addresses the applicability of this ordinance to the PUD. Section 2 outlines the definitions. Section 3 outlines the concept plan. Section 4 addresses the underlying zoning districts. Section 5 outlines the permitted uses. Section 6 addresses the overlay districts. Section 7 outlines the general regulations. Section 8 addresses the development standards. Section 9 addresses the design standards. And finally, Section 10 addresses the permitting and procedures. Section 11, the vacation of rights-of-way, and Section 12, annexation.
Any further questions now the ordinance has been read on first reading? Okay, we will take that up then at our next council meeting, which will be September 13th. Okay, next up, Resolution 2021-13, food and beverage request, preliminary trail design for the rural section, and I see Kevin Krulik and not Derek Warren.
Thank you very much. Yes, I am not Derek Warren. Thankfully, Derek is not here because he is at home with COVID, so I know we wouldn't want him here right now. So he's been at home sick for about a week. Talked to him today. He's on the mend, but still not 100%. So, and he was vaccinated. So it's anyway, probably enough HIPAA violations. I should move on. We are here today to talk about Resolution 2021-13. This is an additional appropriation of $150,000. This is to appropriate funds for the preliminary design of the rural section of the Big Four Trail in association with our Next Level Trails grant. Quick history. So in 2019, we made our submittal to the Next Level Trails grant round 2. That award was then delayed due to COVID. After COVID started to get through the clearing of COVID, knowing that the money was going to still indeed be there for Next Level Trails, basically the word came out and said, you have an active application. Would you like to make any revisions to your application since it's sort of been sitting on the shelf for a year? At that time, staff, the mayor, council agreed to revise our application, effectively adding another $395,400 for additional design fees, design matches into our application. Weren't required to do that, but we had a chance to revisit our application, had a chance to sweeten our application. We took our original application, which had a 38.2% match, to a final application that had a 46.2 match, and we were awarded. So we have been under that award and working through those contracts for a while now, and we are gearing up to have bids ready for the urban section of the trail in October. So essentially, the problem and the reason we're here tonight is that there were some things not included in our original design contracts. As we began going through the design process, we wanted to make sure we addressed. Three main things. There were some drainage issues in Abner Longley Park that were discovered as we went through the topography surveys. These are primarily along the east boundary of Abner Longley Park where there is some standing water. John is here. I'm sure he can attest to the issues we have with drainage in that side of the park. So there were some revisions that needed to be made to accommodate that drainage. The other thing is we didn't have any lighting in the project. We felt as though it would be the right time to add some lighting along the trail through the urban section. As we leave the courthouse square, there's not a lot of street lighting, so this will add street lighting along the trail to and through the park. And then last but certainly not least, we also felt the need, if we're adding things, let's think about some landscaping and supplying some additional street trees in the tree lawns as we go along the trail. So there was approximately $142,000 increase needed in design fees. So, as you might recall, this is a request for an increase that is to be used to fund the rural section. Well, because of the time frame to get this design to bidding in October, we had to start using the rural section monies for design to get these things in the works, to get drainage figured out, to get lighting figured out, to get landscaping figured out. So basically, we've started spending some of our rural section money. And so now we're going back and basically backfilling that rural section money to the tune of $150,000, as the resolution reads, to make the design contracts whole and get us all the way through construction. So that's the resolution before you tonight. That's the backstory. Again, Resolution 21-13 for an additional appropriation of $150,000 from Fund 471, or Food and Beverage, as you probably better know it, to this project.
Any questions for Kevin on that? Just to clarify too on the timeline, so when we go to bid in October, is that bidding both the urban section and the rural section at the same time, or is that just the urban section?
That is just the urban section at
Okay.
that time.
So then that would be spring '22 construction for the urban section.
Correct.
And then we'll bid the rural section later, and then that'll be, is that be constructed in 2022 as well, or is that in '23? Sorry to put you on the spot, but,
Sorry, I don't know. I would have to defer to Derek. We could get him on the line to answer that question. I do know it's a separate bid package that would come out for the rural section, and that's to repave the trail from the Center Township line to the Sayre and Plant Road project.
or to Thorntown?
Rural section is 2023, spring.
Okay, thank you.
So the urban section is taking it from downtown through the park.
Right.
And connecting on, at
Hendricks
100.
Drive.
Hendricks Drive,
So it'll
which
come
which
down
gets
to
into
Hendricks
Stokes,
Drive.
by Stokes,
It
because there's a trail by
continues along
Stokes.
the west side of South Meridian Street from the intersection of Meridian and State Road 32. It continues down to the south side of Superior Street, goes across the property that we're sitting on here today on the south side of Superior Street, crosses East Street to the east side of East Street, and then runs down the east side of East Street to just south of Noble Street, where it cuts into the park, runs along the north side of the youth football fields, and then sort of wraps around near where the Conservation Club is, to the east side of the park, down that east line where there is the drainage problems, and then connects into the trail that dead ends at Hendricks Drive.
So that essentially will get it all the way to, because the trail along Hendricks connects along Naps Avenue, all the way down to 100 South. So that gets us essentially all the way through town with that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Any further comments from council? Okay, this is actually, I'll have you read it first, and then I'll open the public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2021-13 is a resolution for additional appropriation. The City of Lebanon is a duly formed municipal corporation within the state of Indiana, governed by its duly elected mayor and common council. It is the duty and responsibility of council to maintain fiscal integrity of the finances of the city. At times, it becomes necessary to appropriate additional funds within the approved budget as contemplated and authorized by Indiana law. It has been determined that it is now necessary to appropriate more money than was originally appropriated in the annual budget. All additional appropriations will require a public hearing. Council has served proper notice in accordance with Indiana law. Now therefore be it resolved and adopted by the council of the city as follows. Resolution 2021-13 is to appropriate funds for the preliminary design of the rural section of the Big Four Trail. The following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of Fund 471 and for the purpose specified subject to laws governing the same, $150,000. And finally, this resolution shall be in full force and effect immediately upon its adoption.
Thank you. Any further questions now that's been read from council? No. Okay, and this time then I'll open the public hearing on Resolution 2021-13. If you have any comment, please step forward. State your name for the record. No sudden movements. Okay, I will close the public hearing on Resolution 2021-13. Any further discussion, comments from council? Okay, would entertain a motion then concerning Resolution 2021-13.
I'll make a motion we approve Resolution 2021-13 of $150,000 from food and beverage to go to the trail fund.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, I think, from Mike and John tied. Mike gets a second on it. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? That resolution is approved. Thank you, council. All right, and next up, Resolution 2021-14, Lebanon Fire Department requesting additional funds from the local income tax fund. Go, Chief.
Good evening, everyone. Currently, the city of Lebanon has 2 tornado sirens that have suffered catastrophic failure. The sirens are located in the area of Flying J and Sam Ralston Road. Each year, we budget approximately $8,000 to do maintenance on tornado sirens. There is only so much you can do by design of the siren on how you maintain it. And we replace motherboards and do general maintenance. The 2 sirens that had catastrophic failure are some of the oldest sirens in the city. We contacted Sentry Siren to see about refurbing these 2 sirens. And they sent back a quote, and we were waiting on a secondary quote of new sirens. For $2,000 more, we can receive new sirens, and by working with Century Siren, they have upgraded their warranty from 5 years to 7 years, and we feel it would be financially responsible to replace these 2 sirens with new sirens rather than to be referred. So tonight, we're asking the council for an additional appropriation of $18,000 to replace 2 sirens.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief from the council?
Chief, I have a question. You mentioned this earlier to us, and I forget. When you said that warranty went from 5 to 7, so is that still the same type of warranty? They just increased it, or is it a different
Yes,
warranty?
it's an identical warranty. They just increased it to 7 years for us. We're a good customer, a repeat customer, and then purchasing multiple sirens at one time, we negotiated up the warranty to 7 years.
Okay.
Any further questions? Okay. This time we'll have the resolution read.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2021-14 is a resolution for additional appropriation, whereas the City of Lebanon is a duly formed municipal corporation within the state of Indiana, governed by its duly elected mayor and common council. It is the duty and responsibility of the council to maintain fiscal integrity of the finances of the city. At times, it becomes necessary to appropriate additional funds within the approved budget as contemplated and authorized by Indiana law. It has been determined that it is now necessary to appropriate more money than what was originally appropriated in the annual budget. All additional appropriations require a public hearing, of which the council has served proper notice in accordance with Indiana law. Now therefore be it resolved and adopted by the council of the city as follows. Resolution 2021-14 is to appropriate funds for 2 new tornado sirens for the city, and $18,000 is hereby appropriated out of Fund 105 for the purposes specified. Finally, this resolution shall be in full force and effect immediately upon its adoption.
Any further discussion or comment from council? Okay. This time then, I would entertain a motion concerning resolution 20, public hearing. Thank you. Apologize. We'll open the public hearing on resolution 2021-14. If you have any public comment, feel free to step forward. State your name for the record. Close the public hearing on resolution 2021-14. Now the public hearing has been opened and closed. I will now entertain a motion concerning resolution 2021-14.
I move we approve Resolution 2021-14 for the amount of $18,000 for tornado sirens to be taken out of the public safety lit.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second from Morris. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That resolution is adopted unanimously. Thank you, council.
Thank you for your consideration and approval.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, that concludes what I have for new business on my agenda. Is there anything from the council? Okay, then we'll move on to claims and we're going to entertain a motion concerning the claims.
Make a motion, we pay the claims.
We have a motion to pay the claims. Is there a second? Second. Motion and a second. Thinks we should pay our bills. Very good. Motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, claims are approved. Any announcements or discussion from council?
Yes, I have an announcement. Want to remind everybody that the Lebanon Kiwanis Pancake Supper is coming up on September the 16th at the Boone County 4-H grounds.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
Did you pay the tech crew to get background music for that?
No, sir.
Any general public comment? Okay. This time then, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second. Motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Our next city council meeting is Monday, September 13th. Have a great evening.